It's got to be illegal to look this good. Ben, Peck, John, Nolan, my name's Chris Lewis. Syracuse and Louisville doing battle, and speaking of illegal, these two teams top 2 in the nation in steals. Guys, have you ever stolen anything?
Nothing that I'm going to admit to, Chris, but I know this guy has stolen a few hearts.
I'm going to play the fifth on that one. I'm not so sure I want to get that
Just don't do it to him on Valentine's Day.
Enough of this. Let's get into some of these game storylines. And first and foremost, identifying strengths and weaknesses, a key for any team. Killing number 2 in the polls, the Cuse has more of the former than the latter. Even Syracuse's lack of rebounding was turned around against UConn, but the team still has extra focus in that area of the game.
And I feel as though everybody just, in practice, start rebounding. And we know that's going to be a huge factor because everybody going to probably try out-rebound them because that's probably one of the weak spots we got. But
Big East play is winding down, and the Cuse is still on top. Meanwhile, Louisville has battled injuries to manage 5th place. In the preseason, the stretch of the season, Georgetown, UConn, and Louisville look to be murderer's row for the Orange. Senior leadership has been a factor of the success.
The way our team is, that's Chris Joseph. You know, he's the guy that he's the locker room guy, always smiling, always upbeat, always happy. And when you're leader that way, our team becomes that way. And I'm happy to be a part of something and be with him for the years I've been here.
But of those 3 games, Louisville still might be the toughest. I'm sure you've heard it by now, but if you haven't, Rick Pitino's Louisville teams are 7-1 against Jim Boeheim. No one on the Orange has beaten the Cardinals, and the Cuse knows it.
Yeah, this definitely one you want to get bragging rights for. Even though we might be top 5 in the country, I think they still got the upper hand against us.
Now rejoined by our analysts for a little bit of a Cuse countdown favorite, 3 in the cave. It's a little bit of matchup, so you explain a couple of aspects of this game, and you tell me who's going to come on top. First, Kyle Kuric, expert shooter, John, against Syracuse's 2-3 zone.
And I'm going to take Kuric in this matchup, Ben, and the reason why, just based on the last 2 times he's played against Syracuse. Scored 23 and 22 points, hit 7 total threes in those contests. He's just the type of, classic zone buster because he can hit it from NBA range. And even when SU's guards get out, he's going to shoot over top of them because he's got some good size to him.
I know he's had success against Syracuse in the past, but I'm going to go with the zone in this one. If you actually take a look at his shooting numbers, he's not doing as well this year as he has in the past. I think Syracuse is much more athletic than they have been in years past. He's not going to get as many opportunities in transitions and find those easy shots.
And you know that one shot he really likes is that corner, and Syracuse needs to make sure they key in on that. Second, it's the matchup of the big men, Gorgui Dieng and Fab Melo, who's been playing very well, especially on offense as of late.
I'm going to go with Gorgui Dieng in this one. I think he presents a huge matchup problem.
John already shaking his head.
I mean, he's just too fast and too tough for Fab Melo. I think he's going to beat him up on these hustle plays, and especially in transition. Fab Melo, he's a big body, but he's not necessarily the quickest guy getting back down the court. A huge player to watch against Louisville.
I don't know. If you've been watching him this year, Fab Melo is one of the quicker guys down court. I mean, he set up for a jump shot last game against UConn, but I think Dieng, although he could be in contention for Big East Player of the Year, he's averaging more blocks than Melo is. In some of the big games against Kentucky, only 5 points, 5 rebounds. Against UConn, he didn't have any blocks at all against their big, so I think Melo still takes the cake as best big man in the conference.
I'll give you this, John. If Fab Melo can step out a couple feet and start knocking down threes,
I still don't know
I'll
why
take
he
Fab.
took those jump shots. He's still a big man, lives down low. All right, when I say Rick Pitino and his squads, what comes to mind right away? Press, of course. And Syracuse's guards before this year, especially Scoop Jardine, Dion Waiters, not known for being careful. So who you got, the press or SU's guards?
Well, despite, we went with past history for Kirk before, but this time around, I'm going to say SU's guards. Right now, the Orange, #1 in the country in turnover margin a game. And I think with veteran guards, Scoop Jardine, Brandon Trish, Dion Waiters, they're going to be able to handle this press. And a big reason why is because this season in practice, the Orange, because they have so much depth, they're able to press in practice. So the guys are going to be familiar with that, and it won't be as much of a shock to their system as it would be in years past.
I'll take the Syracuse guards as well. I think you said it earlier, the leadership of these guards, you got a senior Scoop Jardine, a junior Brandon Trish, and even a sophomore Dion Waiters. They've all seen this Louisville press before. They really want to beat the Cardinals. And I just think that they get down the quick, so the SU gets down the quick so quickly.
Harder, easier said than done.
That I don't think Louisville's going to be able to handle them.
Yeah, and a lot of matchups going into this game, and now we dissected a couple, but now it's the X Factor time. Maybe something we haven't discussed so far that'll be the difference in the game.
Yeah, my X factor for this one's going to be Brandon Triche. Last 3 games for the Orange, Triche has really struggled, averaging just 5 points, shooting 17% from the field. However, let's keep in mind that throughout the course of this season, there have been stretches where SU's main 3 guards have all struggled. Back at the Garden in November preseason NIT, Scoop Jardine was on the bench in big-time moments. Dion Waiters had his own 3-game slump. So Triche has been quiet of late, but I think that he's a guy who could step up here on the road, and with his veteran leadership, he could be the one who finally gets SU over the edge against Louisville.
All right, Ben?
I'm going to take another guard, but I'll take Scoop Jardine. I think we mentioned the press earlier, and I think Scoop, he can either be up or down. You saw last game he had a career high in points, but Scoop, he's known for making some careless decisions from time to time, can turn the ball over. I think as long as he doesn't put too much on himself, he'll have a big game, and Syracuse will come out on top.
Scoop coming off of a very good game. 2 Syracuse X factors. Does that mean 2 Syracuse wins as predictions?
Yes, sir. I think the Orange ends this 7-game losing streak against Louisville. I think Syracuse is going to win 73-64. After this one, Jim Boeheim might want to dance with somebody. I don't know, maybe Donna DeToda, a reminder that he finally still can beat Rick Pitino. But yes, I think the Orange, this will be their biggest test on the road this season. Yeah, they did have one pretty big win without Fab Melo at Cincinnati, but now we're talking about a top 25 team on the road, national TV. I think the Orange finally, adds this just another notch in its belt on this great season.
I'm going to go with the Orange as well. I'll go 83-79, one of the higher scoring games. And, just 2 really athletic teams. I think this will be just a battle on transition for both of these squads. But Syracuse depth, I think, is really going to help them. They're just going to have too many fresh legs coming in off the bench. I don't think Louisville is going to be able to keep up with that.
I caught the Whitney Houston reference, John, and rest in peace, of course, to Whitney Houston. And that's it for our web exclusive preview of Syracuse and Louisville. Remember, keep it on the sports blog after the game, where Orange Press Pass will have another web exclusive recap of the ball game. For Ben, for John, my name is Chris Lewis. Thanks for watching.